What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 31 of my Total War Warhammer 3 Elspeth von Draken Immortal Empires campaign. So as we saw last time, we got a nice duel between Karl Franz and Malekith up in the sky around Venom Glade, and Malekith was beaten pretty soundly. He certainly deserved it, not least because he was annoying us by trying to escape our army and sack our undefended territories. His former territories, mind you, but nonetheless. This time around, we're going to hopefully destroy Nagaron for good. They have 4 territories remaining, and we have plenty of armies on the approach, while we start making our way northward through the mountains of Morr and to deal with Ruinous, and then start moving on Grimgor's Zard boys, both from the north and from the south, as our slowdown army is getting there as well, though it'll probably need a turn or two to heal, and hopefully an army doesn't come by before it does complete it. Anyway, let's get going. We're gonna do this in order once again. Andreas Meyer. Andreas Meyer. He's kind of been hanging around, not attacking anything for a few turns. I think we've reached the point in the campaign where we can be really risky, in the sense that we could try to attack Morathi here, and if there are like 6 other stacks that we can't see nearby that attack us and destroy this army after, would it really be such a big deal? I don't think so. So we're gonna try. Let's get you cartography innovation so that we can get you ballistics calibration, I guess. Not enough points for the ballistics instructor, unfortunately, though. Do you have anything that's super high level? Okay, we got 2 rank 7s on the bordermen. The tanks aren't there yet, meaning that even if we were to get artillery master, we wouldn't really be able to get too much mileage out of it. On the other hand, we could get 1 point in it just to buff up the black lines. Sharpshooter already buffs up the bordermen. Yeah, fine, let's do that. Simply because we wouldn't be able to get ballistics calibration right now anyway. Alright, and oh, you're still on your mechanical steed as well. You don't have your tank yet, which we're gonna definitely want to move towards. Let's get you black powder discipline, restock, and then increase mobility, and then the mage. What are you missing? I guess we could get you guided by stars. This seems quite inferior to some of the other stuff. Chain lightning, it really depends on what exactly is in Morathi's army, though. You know what, let's see. Let's land here. Actually, assuming that we can even, I don't even know whether we can land here. If this is one of the broken territories, we wouldn't be able to attack it directly. Huh, okay, that's a significant number of shades, eh? That's not as great, but, well, what can you do? We're probably not going to get any use out of Comet of Cassandora there. I think, though, we'll still get Star Student, Celestial Scholar for the Winds of Magic cost reduction. Guided by Stars probably wouldn't be super helpful to us, though Battle Hardened gives us additional speed, and I'm a little bit wary of Morathi chasing the Celestial Wizard around, which may not be the greatest thing. Let's go Earthing. Let's get Battle Hardened. Something like that. Got a little bit of everything, but it's only 1 point in everything, but nah. It's all good. You do got plenty of mana, though, so you'll still be able to cast plenty of things. Now, can we actually attack the place? We can. And it's a Pyrrhic victory. I don't know whether it's a minor settlement battle or not. And this is the Moon Shards, so it is. It is a minor settlement battle. Alright. The Bordermen should do well here, but the minor settlement battle will probably favor the Shades being able to fire on us from where we can't really reach them. On the other hand, that does mean relatively close confines for the various spells, specifically the Chain Lightning. Also, the rattling of that mechanical horse is really distracting. Hard to formulate a thought. Anyway, here we go. Oh wow, I couldn't tell what the heck the war wagons were firing at, but it looks like Morathi was flying all the way up over this particular tower. Anyway, here we go. Let's see if we can pull this off. The Shades are definitely going to be a problem in Morathi, and both of her Manticores, I'm sure, are going to be quite the problem as well. As usual, we advance with the tanks forward and follow it up with the Eldred's Guard. They are the most heavily armored infantry units that we have after all, and hopefully they don't take too much damage. That said, Black Ark support is going to come down and the enemy is going to send in some Furies, Harpies rather, together with Morathi herself. And the Eldred's Guard are going to have to live through this Soul Blight and Soul Drinker alike. Going to hit them, and they're down by about 30% of their HP within a few seconds, which is not so great. Morathi has also landed, and probably a good time to do so while the Soul Blight is down. And though we have anti-large on our spears here, and these are still weak and relatively basic units in terms of the damage that they're able to output, they're meant to hold the line, not dish out damage. Anyway, in the meantime, the units of Halberdiers will advance. We also have the Grendel's Surefires, was it? Gunderman's Surefires, gunning down that Manticore, and it's the first Manticore to fall. Morathi's still in the middle of the fight, but now getting attacked by the steam tanks, trying to still get support from those Furies, but the Furies aren't all that threatening, admittedly. Alright, well, it's going to be a long way up this ramp, I wager, but we've got other units working on the sidelines as well. Our Stubborn Bulls have moved in and are going to start fighting the Bleak Swords over on this side, and our units of Bordermen are creeping forward to try to lob grenades over this sort of wall. We'll see if they can fire that far. Looks like Morathi will start getting terrified of those tanks and will attempt to book it on out of there, but we'll still try to do as much work as we can with the Stubborn Bulls and the Noble Sons Abroad here. We'll also see how well they can do against the Bleak Swords and Shades. Though the Shades should probably take priority. We also got Black Ark support coming down on our troops, badly damaging the other unit of Northern Mariners, and it looks like the exchange of fire, Shades versus Bordermen, is happening over on this side. Very heavy damage to the first of the enemy units of Shades, though I'm sure we're taking damage ourselves. Morathi trying to make it over the tower here, but will get knocked down by the Surefires, the steam tanks, and the other... who else was firing? Oh, and the War Wagons, and that is a very, very long way down. Kind of interesting that the model... I was about to say that the model persists throughout the entire fall, but it looks like it disappeared about halfway down. Interesting. Interesting. Still, a very long way down indeed. Anyway, continuing to make our way up the ramp, our Eldred's Guard are going to have to back off, and it looks like soon the Halberdiers will have to back off as well, as they have been pretty heavily damaged. Once again, we continue leading the charge with our steam tanks, and now continuing to drop a little bit of support via the Uranon's Thunderbolts and the Chain Lightnings on the enemy above, before our own infantry piles get there, such that they are, or would be, in danger of getting hit by our own spells. Out here, our units of Stubborn Bulls are still fighting, though they took quite a bit of a beating fighting the Bleak Swords in melee. A little bit surprisingly, a little bit disappointingly perhaps, but 40 and 40, they do kind of have better melee attack and defense stats than the Stubborn Bulls, but these guys do have great swords and great weapons. And I'm sure they were taking damage from the Shades as well. 56-48, pretty good there as well. Still, you gotta remember that the Stubborn Bulls are still just Empire Knights. They're still a relatively weak, or at least fragile variant of cavalry. So it's hardly surprising that they get badly beat up here. Our Noble Sons Abroad are trying to make their way forward, being blocked by some Scourge Runner chariots here, and we do have a unit of Shades moving in to reinforce. Gotta watch out for that, as a volley into those Noble Sons will damage them pretty darn heavily. And there we go, volley coming in, and these guys lose maybe 30% of their HP. The darn units of enemy Scourge Runners are still keeping them locked in place. We're going to have to book them out of there as soon as we can, unless they get ripped apart. And we can send in the remnants of the Stubborn Bulls in to help, now that they've destroyed the Dark Shard units here and have escaped from fighting the Bleak Swords and the Shades in melee. The rest of our troops are making their way forward. Ulrich's, Swords of Ulrich, rather, now fighting enemies in two locations, especially since the Halberdiers and the other units the Eldred's Guard are both done. I do like how visible the swords of Ulrich are. Really easy to pick them out on the battlefield with those bright colors of theirs. Alright, well, they shouldn't have too much trouble fighting off the enemy shades, though the bleak swords, when their buffs are up, could be a little bit more of an issue. And the murderous prowess should make them fairly decent in melee after all, and these guys are down to about half HP. A master has moved in over on this side and is keeping the other units of Swords of Ulrich locked in place, while our tanks sort of try to chase enemy range units around, though interfering with each other a little bit. These ones, or this one rather, is going after the Witch Elves, and this one after the Black Ark Corsairs with handbows. That said, the enemy army is in pretty bad shape now. More of the enemy units are continuing to get destroyed by the Bordermen with their grenades, though the Bordermen have taken a lot of damage themselves. We once again can expect to take damage in pretty much every unit of this entire army, so that's hardly surprising. A few more volleys will see these shades book it on out of there, and it looks like at last the enemy army will break. And there we go. Huh, the heck? Was it a little like a tent or something? Something got destroyed and sent everybody flying, but I'm not entirely sure what it was. Anyway, a Pyrrhic victory for us. We certainly had to work for the victory for this minor settlement battle, and that's it's one of the fun things about this army. Alright, very nice. A fun little fight. I do like this army in particular because it has a lot of weak troops in it, lots of tier 2s primarily. Do the Swords of Ulrich count as tier 1s? Or tier 2s, but anyway. Yeah, lots of basic stuff which makes them quite vulnerable to enemies, especially high tier shades with lots of veterancy and buffs on them. That said, we took quite a bit of damage here due to the Pyrrhic victory, unsurprisingly mind you, but to the Black Ark support. That was an annoyance throughout that battle, and similarly to the close confines being a disadvantage for the enemy where Chain Lightning is concerned, it is also the same for us where all that Black Ark support kept coming down. So, good for the enemy. We're gonna loot and occupy, I guess. I mean, we're gonna trade this away, we're certainly not keeping it. Hero action, cost reduction, all heroes probably don't really care about that. Another Seed of Rebirth. Not the worst thing in the world. I wonder whether the Seed of Rebirth, because of the admittedly small amount of regeneration it provides, I wonder if it would be superior on Steam Tank Lords as compared to like a Talisman of Preservation or the Talisman of Endurance, rather. What ward save was that again? Was it 8? Yeah, 8% ward save versus a small amount of regeneration via Seed of Rebirth. Might be that the Seed of Rebirth is actually the superior option. I do wonder. Also, we do need a mage for Boris Todbringer. The question is, where do we build a mage? Marienburg. Can't build mages, so I guess Altdorf is the closest place, which is a pretty far place. We can't build one on Bordelot, can we? No, we cannot. What about anywhere here? No, damn. Alright, just to double check. Gelt doesn't give us the option to be able to build wizards everywhere via this, does it? No, it's just the Mastery of Elemental Winds. Yeah, okay, that's fine. In that light then, we'll go to Eilhart and we will build Determined and Noble. I don't really care for Noble on the other end. I don't really care for Determined either. We could mill through these, but are we at the point in the campaign where we care about milling through them or bothering to mill through them anymore? I don't know. On the other hand, if we could get Disciplined, that would be swell, because Boris's army, it's gonna be weak in some ways. Due to, once again, using primarily Swords of Ulrich, which are basic troops with little to no defenses, they would need armor. And these don't offer it. Alright, you know what? I'm gonna give them a turn. We'll try to mill through this noble one, delete you, and then we'll see if we can get a better one next turn. If we can't, I'll just give up. Especially considering that both of the Amber Wizards will get Imperial Griffins anyway, which is why we want them in this army to fight. Oh, actually, speaking of Boris, you wanted to get 2 more of the Frost Worms. I wanted little Groms, but 38 allegiance, and it's the only one that can build them, right? We could build Frost Worms out of the Urson Revivalists. And possibly the Greater Orthodoxy? Well, not yet, but oh. Okay, well, we'll just build 1 for now. I just don't see anything else out of these guys that we could build that would work other than the little Groms, which I did want, but considering only the Ice Court can build them, it's fairly unlikely. I mean, you could use some of the things in the woods, but what do they really offer us? I feel like the Frostworms to help hold the line with the relatively weak Swords of Ulrich would probably be the better option here. And with the Amber Wizards as well. Yeah, just do that for now. Anyway, Boris, just sit there for now, and let's see who else needs to move. And let's see if this army survives. Oh, in fact, since it is... Oh. Yeah, I don't think this army is going to survive. There are indeed 2 stacks here, plus 2 Black Arcs, and they could all attack us at any moment. Let's level you up, but if it's your last stand, it's your last stand, sir. Ballistics Calibration, and I guess Repair and Maintain just in case we can heal up more. It's also a red territory, so we wouldn't be healing up all that much. Engineer, you can have... I mean, it doesn't really matter. Let's start moving through piercing shots and into extra powder. And then the Mage, lastly. We're not quite to Arcane Conduit. Let's get Guided by Stars in case we can actually move away next turn, and let's get another point in Chain Lightning, as I think that'll be reasonably likely to be used, let's say. It would be a shame to lose all of these items. You're not immortal either. But nonetheless. If you have a last stand, it'll at best be a nice one. Helmut, you are heading down to Kairos town, so head down this way down the coastline. Ignore the blue scribes. Hopefully they can't do anything to you. Boris von Sighofen, are you in range of the Ashridge Mountains? You are in range of the Ashridge Mountains. Well, that's just lovely. This means that we can knock out Drazuath the Ashen here. We could possibly try to get him to come in as a reinforcement, but I'm not going to risk it. I think we're gonna attack him straight up and close to feet. That's what I like to see. Those Infernal Guard are certainly going to be an issue, and ooh. They've got a couple of 3 Infernal Ironsworn as well with their blasting charges or whatever the Chaos Dwarf equivalent is. Oh, damn, and they've got the Ice-Forged Legion. Oh, that's gonna be very bad for this army. Yeah, you know what? I should have tried to attack this guy instead. Ah, that will work. Ah, you're screwed now. Alright, well, I'm happy with that, or at least reasonably so, though I suppose one issue is that the reinforcement's only coming in 46 seconds, which ain't that long. But nonetheless, at least it'll mean we get a few extra seconds to attempt to close the distance, rather than have the Iceforged Legion bombard our troops. I like it. I like it a lot, yeah. Alright, here we go again, the Flagellant army to face off once more against the Chaos Dwarfs. I've been finding it amusing, but also quite fun, and to have this particular army be facing off against the Chaos Dwarfs, because it's a bad matchup for this army. The heavily armored Chaos Dwarfs against the relative lack of armor piercing of the Flagellants units means the enemy generally has a little bit of an extra advantage, plus all the monstrous units that they have, and flyers that we have not much of an answer to. Anyway, we're going to send our 2 Empire Captains forth to try to work on this enemy Sorcerer Prophet here and see how quickly we can knock him out, or whether we can do so quickly enough before Drazuath gets here. Unfortunately, it looks like the answer to that is a no dice, as we've done pretty much no damage to the to Namtar the Dominator here with these 2. Despite the fact that they have deceptively good stats, 68, 77, 619, but yeah, they're certainly not able to quickly kill this guy, only shaving about 1,000 HP off of him before Drajuath lands. And they're not going to have much of a chance against Draj here, at least not by themselves. Here come the warrior priests to join the fray as well. A little bit of a hero and a lord action going on, especially since these guys are all fast movers and the rest of our army is going to take quite the while to get here. On the bright side, we have a lot of uptime on Hammer of Sigmar and Shield of Faith between the two warrior priests and the Arch Elector, so hopefully everybody here can be nice and buffed while they continue attacking. That said, that's a minute and 30 seconds, probably over a minute of this guy being attacked, and he's still barely damaged at all. I don't think he's taken a single hit yet, despite the fact that his melee defense is only at 46. Since we've arrived, and Draj has lost his barrier, but at 678, that probably only required a hit or two anyway. Anyway, the rest of our army is moving in, but it's still going to take a little bit of time to get there. We used the Kettle's Call to summon the Great Hawks on the field. I was hoping to have them hit the Ice-Forged Legion, but unfortunately the enemy has two Great Tauruses that will be able to move in front of them and distract them, preventing us from shutting those cannons down. This will mean that the cannons will start getting volleys off, and the Ice-Forged Legion is a very scary unit. And looks like they will be focusing on our units of Zotes, at least to start it off. And the Zotes are going to take a hit from that rocket barrage, a little bit of damage on them, but actually I would prefer the rocket barrages to hit the Zotes rather than our flagellants, so that's all right. It's alright by me. The Knights of the Everlasting Light will have to peel away and handle the Ice-Forged Legion themselves. I wasn't hoping to have them do this because their debuff is needed for our main stack, but at least these guys will be silenced while that's happening. We're also going to send in some flagellants to reinforce over there as well, so they're not all going to be fighting the main stack of enemies here. Buffs and debuffs, auras, and such are all happening here. Lots of effects, but this is one of those armies that has a tendency to have a lot of those. Shield of Sigmar, or Shield of Faith, Hammer of Sigmar, and Vissen's Wild Form, and whatever else we can get going, all active at the same time. A Searing Doom comes down upon the blob of enemies, but the enemy will hit us in reprisal with a set of rockets. Right into the middle of a couple of our units of... Okay, maybe it'll happen afterwards. There will be a rocket barrage, I just don't know when. Now, that's already happened while I was busy looking elsewhere. Anyway, big old brawl happening. Infernal Guard, Chaos Warriors, or Chaos Dwarf Warriors, etc. Having smashed into our line of flagellants, or vice versa. And there we go. Now the enemy will hit us with that rocket barrage right in the middle of our flagellants. Probably wouldn't have been able to back them off anyway, but okay, at least it isn't a Dreadquake barrage, which would have been much more devastating. Though to be fair, at the same time, if it was Dreadquakes, it probably would have badly damaged the enemy army as well. Alright, and speaking of the enemy army, bounce powers are about 65, maybe 70% in our favor. Drajuath and the other Sorcerer Prophets still just fine in the middle of that melee, but we've started surrounding the enemy as they have started to run out of units. The Knights of the Everlasting Light have done pretty good in the background as well. The Flagellants have ripped apart the enemy Hobgoblin Archers, hardly surprising that, as that's something against trash infantry. That's something that they should always be doing pretty darn solid at. Especially with the enemy debuffed by the Knights of the Everlasting Light. Those Hell Cannons really want to move to try to shoot at us, but aren't able to do so, and that's just fine. We'll slowly destroy them. But we can also peel a few units of Knights of the Everlasting, or one of the units of Knights of the Everlasting Light, and Flagellants away to join the fray against the main enemy stack. The second Kettle's Call comes down as more Great Hawks join the Zotes in battle, though it looks like one of the Zotes falls. Just as I mentioned, then we get a nice charge into the rear of the enemy column with the Knights of the Everlasting Light, adding that lovely debuff to everybody around. There we go. Alright, looks like some Kadai Fireborn are just about gone. Infernal Guard, 35 melee attack. It's pretty low. Once again, all that aura stacking really helps those flagellants survive against units that generally have much higher melee attack than they do melee defense. But, I mean, look at these stats there. Tattersoul's up to 100 melee attack with a Hammer of Sigmar. Their armor's at 54, and their melee defense at 46. Isn't too bad either. And that'll get even stronger when we get that Luminarch in here, because it'll be providing that lovely 20% ward save thing in combination with the Light Wizard that we have here, or Metal Wizard that we have here as well, who's also providing additional armor. That should be pretty good. Alrighty, and I'm sure that the Chaos Dwarves have learned not to underestimate this army, as once again, it looks like their stack will break, and the battle will be ours. Let's see, Iceforge Legion are still there, but they were never able to get another shot off. Drazuath will ride, or fly away rather, but there's no way we can bring him down. We can maybe hope to have all 5 of our heroes bring down this particular Sorcerer Prophet, but even that is not really happening. They're having a really tough time hurting him at all. I mean, I don't expect the warrior priests to do too much damage to him, but damn. Chasing around with 5 heroes and barely any damage, but that's all right. The army is working, even if we struggle against single entities quite a lot. I suppose maybe the Zotes would have been better at that particular thing than the heroes and lords, but it doesn't matter, as the enemy army won't be able to escape anyway, because it's a settlement battle. Or, well, close enough to being a settlement battle. Alrighty, there we go. Looks like the lion's share of the damage that our army took to these particular 2 units of flagellants. I was watching that rocket barrage come down, and they had roughly the same amount of HP as the rest of our flagellants at about 119 units, but then the rocket barrage hit these 2 from that army-bound ability, and it took a lot of their HP out. But otherwise, we were more or less fine, and we can heal up plenty as well. I really do enjoy using this army, and the Zotes have been particularly instrumental in dishing out both damage and acting as lion anchors, and great job to the various units of Knights of the Everlasting Light and the Flagellants, of course, as well. Still disappointed in the Empire Captains, who are still terrible at damaging single entities. They were trying to kill this guy for the entire bloody battle, and then they were right in the middle of the melee and managed to do 3.3k and 3.9k, and that's counting the extra damage they dealt chasing stuff around after the battle was over. Yeah. I'm actually thinking that once the Amber Wizard has his Imperial Griffin, he's probably going to be a lot better at killing single entities than the Empire Captains are. At least I have the feeling. These guys, the Warrior Priests, didn't do much damage themselves either, but they have that constant buffage on rotation with the Hammers of Sigmar and the Shield of Faith, and of course all the aura stacking that they're doing as well. And these 2 need to do better, at least at killing single entities or annoying artillery or something. Once again, I mostly brought them for flavor and because they very slightly buff our piles of flagellants. They are a bit better in SFO though, and do have to remember that. Ally mission successful. D-Towered gives us missile resistance 15%, and income from province capital settlement buildings plus 10% faction wide. Trait gain, sure. Razor standard, lovely. Actually, speaking of, do we have the... yes, Admired Infantryman. +3/+3, melee attack and defense. And that includes the Flagellants. And are you able to do the same thing? Yes, you are. Admired Infantryman. Lovely. Now what are we up in terms of stats? 55 melee attack, 31 melee defense, 25 armor, before you consider all the buffs and auras that they have, which is starting to look pretty nice. It's nothing crazy, but for an unbreakable, relatively cheap unit, it's pretty solid. Anyway. We can auto-resolve the rest of this. Oh, Drazuath survived that, eh? Yeah, but there's no other army that can pick up his defeat trait, which would be nice. I'm not gonna pretend it won't be nice, but yeah, there's nobody nearby that can take advantage of it. You are gonna ambush here. I guess we're gonna head to the Darkhold next, so we'll move right like this rather than like this, so that we can meet up and grab this Luminarch. I want to go into ambush just in case there's an army like right here waiting to kill this unit off. Anyway, Ashridge Mountains out of resolve. Hopefully that doesn't hurt our... Okay, so it damaged the already damaged War Drum, taking another 25% of its HP, and didn't hurt the non-damaged War Drum at all. I swear, the auto-resolve is just constantly just trying to annoy you. Occupy, I guess. I mean, we're gonna trade it away, aren't we? Yeah, loot and occupy. We'll give it to the elves. This nearly completes their territory after all. Not that we want anything from them, mind you, as long as they don't go after Nagashazar, as we'll be saving that for our final battle, and I don't think that the AI can do that, so, I mean, go after that place. Unlike the... Well, actually, I've seen the Servants of the Conclave get into wars, so who knows. Anyway, Ulrich Puttkammer, you are going to grab the Amethyst Hellstorm rockets from Balthazar Gelt as we're redoing some of his army. Marcus Drietzman, you're going to keep on staying here, waiting for Clan Angren to potentially attack us. Balthi, I guess you're going to move up towards the Maw Gate. Go into encamp stance. Oh, actually, no, I lied. Go into channeling stance right at the edge of our territory so we can hit Maw Gate, but also grab the troops out of Valmir von Raukov's army. That's the way to do it. Also, did I get... Okay, I didn't get Hardened Shot or Hardened Blades. For your Hardened Blades, probably going to be useless because these guys barely do any damage anyway. They're mostly here to provide defensive capabilities, and so that we have something in addition to the Grundle's Defenders, which are giving that artillery and war machine buff thing that we like. Does this count as a war machine? Flying war machine. Huh. I wonder. I imagine that this only affects Imperial units, but artillery or war machine? I'm curious whether this is flagged as a war machine or whether flying war machine is a unique thing. I guess we'll see when we get those on the field. Emil Braun, you're headed to Fuchao just in case. I don't think that the Blessed Dread will recover, but who knows? Who knows? Why risk it? Money is good, money is good, money is good. All three of the monies are good. And unless we've got buildings to build, I believe we're good to end the turn. Though, we don't have a lot of money, probably assuming we built whatever buildings last time. Well, again, these aren't built, meaning they probably need to be built, meaning we need to build some buildings. Fields for you, we'll start with, I don't know, one of these places. I don't really care about leveling these places up, mind you, but, you know, while we're here, and, ooh, right, we have the Eye of Hag Grief. Gotta get that additional trade goods stuff. It is good stuff, after all. And build a village here at the Temple of Cain as well, and that's pretty much all of our money. Glacier Encampment, we're not keeping you. We're trading you to Boris. In fact, Boris, Glacier Encampment. Enjoy. Oh, he's got 5k for us now? Huh. Actually being a little bit more useful than he was before. Lovely. Although I do conflate the Boris of this campaign with the Boris and Malachi campaign a little bit, I will admit, as, well, they're kind of in a similar position after all. Bamboo Crossing will level you up to the next tier. Plain of Spiders, sure, build the Obsidian Quarry there, why not? Though I guess we need growth here, and the income collection... kind of a problem right now, but we'll deal with it. Haunted Forest. Actually, no, that's kind of a waste of money. When we had materials at sea, useful. When we don't have materials at sea, not as useful. Anyway, skip. Outpost upgrade available, skip. And I'm pretty sure that's end turnable. End turn. What do we have here? Heirs of Morcaine will get attacked by the Ice Court. I don't know where the Heirs of Morcaine are. Sure, we'll enter war inside of Ally. We'll have to take a look at where this particular rogue army spawned. I do find those spawns a little bit in Hrothgar Spire. The heck? Where did you come from? Huh? How'd they do that? Well, that's weird. Hrothgar Spire is like right in the middle of a bunch of conquered territory. What the heck? Auto-resolve? Are they gonna occupy it? No, they're gonna get themselves killed by occupying it, but what the heck? That's very odd. I have no idea how... I checked over there. There was no... Where did you come from? Look. I mean, look at those. They're completely surrounded. They didn't come out of here because they would have had to pass Deconstructor Zintler several turns. Where were they? Were they like hiding in this little nook here or something? Bizarre. Very bizarre. Completely irrelevant because we don't care about the place, but weird. Ready for duty? Sure. Ooh, actually, no, it's good. Gain vision of all non-hostile Empire faction capitals. Well, well, well. Look who's alive. Look who's alive and yet unwilling to confederate despite the difference in balance of power. 9 territories. Strength rank 38. I mean, considering there's not a lot of factions left on the map, what was it, like 50? Because it counts rogue armies and stuff as well. 40-something, 50-something? Most enemy factions have been destroyed at this point. 38 is one of the lower level factions on the map. They're currently trading with Bordlow, Errant, and Jade Court at war with Itza and Hexoatl, though being as such may force them into a war with us. Well, probably not. We'll see. I think Bordlow Errant is friendly with Itza, but at war with Hexoatl, or the other way around. It doesn't really matter. Do this stuff until they give us all their money to weaken them. And, oh, okay, wait. Don't do the military access. Wait, don't do the non-aggression pact. There we go. Weaken them by taking their money every turn until they're willing to confederate. Not that, once again, we really care about Wolfheart all that much, but who knows. Free money, free money. Anybody else want to trade? Hexoatl, funnily enough, wants to trade, but they won't be happy about this treaty with the Hunts Marshal's expedition, and we're probably going to be more friendly with the Jade Court and the Bordlow Errant than we are with Hexoatl, so who knows. Though it does remain to be seen as to whether this campaign will retain enough interest to for us to bother with anything in Lustria. You can grab... Oh, this guy ran. If we sack Ironfrost, would we be able to go after him? I wager not, but who knows. Alright, so here's what we'll do. Land Admiral Zintler, you're not able to reach Rothgar. What about you? Are you able to reach Rothgar? No. Alright, that's fine. What do we have in terms of... Oh, right. Oh, I kind of wanted to fight those guys. Why did you run? I was excited about that. Okay. Well, we certainly don't need Zintler to do that for us. Zintler, go into ambush stance right here. In the hopes that these guys stick it. No, but then they'll go for Chimerica's. Well, then they're probably going to go for Chimerica's Spire anyway. You know what I should have done? I should have kept you out here at the edge of our own territory. Just so that you can keep healing up. So screw ambush stance, go right here, this will allow you to heal. Boris, I guess you're gonna move back around to Eldar Spire because somebody needs to deal with Welch. Welch won't be able to go for the Altar of Ultimate Darkness because it has walls and no breaches in them. And he does not have siege attacker on anything in here, meaning he'd need to build stuff. Skinwolves don't have siege attacker, so either he attempts to go for Eldar Spire, in which case he gets killed by Boris. Although actually that would be a proper fight. Oh, also Boris, while I have you. Another Knights of the Everlasting Light for you, sir. Anything else we need to do for you? Or can do for you right now? I don't think so. I don't think anything here works with what we're trying to do with you. 3 turns on the Northern Mariners, 6 turns on the Swords of Ulrich. What about our Regiments of Renown again? We already got the White Wolves. The Deathjacks are garbage and not worth using, so we'll just ignore them. At least that's out of early game and, you know, buffing up garrisons and stuff. Yeah, alright. Alright, well that looks good to me. We'll prepare for fighting Welch with Boris next time around. Maybe even give him that last Frostworm before I forget. Not out of Ice Court though, but hopefully out of either Ursan Revivalists, 39 still, and Great Orthodoxy, 39. Okay, soon, game, soon. Anyway, folks, with that, we're out of time, and I'm going to have to call the episode here. Next time, we continue marching southward. And now, Andreas Meyer, you actually managed to survive. Might actually get you some more work. And, oh, elves, come on, they didn't capture Arnheim. What are you doing? There's nobody there anymore. Go do something. I want them to take the territories here so that they can actually, you know, hold the territories so that we can, well, not have to do it for them. But I guess we'll have to figure out what we're doing there. Next time around, hopefully Helmut will reach Kairos and will declare war on them. Balthazar will keep moving northward towards Greasus, who I'm not entirely sure what he's doing, but I guess we'll find out next time. So stay tuned for more Elspeth. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below. All glory to the algorithm. And thanks for watching.
Across the ocean.